Oh, hey, what's going on? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. Uh, Looks like we might have an issue with our Facebook tonight, but got YouTube, we got Twitch up, so we're good to go. Um, Look, it's our early appearance for third member Bella, but obviously I have my co-host with me. I guess co-host, not only Bella, but got Jory from Jory Sports Stories. You guys already know. Jory, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I've been harassed by this one pretty much all day, but
Mhm.
can't complain. I have some things I want to talk about because there's been a lot of things that's been ticking me off. Pluto.
Yeah. Got Anthony in here. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Anthony.
All right, so it looks like we are up on Facebook. Okay, interesting. It was showing like it wasn't, but um, yeah. So we got a lot that we're gonna get into. We're gonna talk about some NBA. Well, one team in particular, NFL. We even have some WNBA to talk about. I feel like it's been a while since we've done that on the show. We got Jory with updated tier lists. Then a little teaser. There's definitely a rant coming towards the end of the show. So you guys got to stick around for that. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our first topic. And here we go. So 2025, we will have the Golden State Valkyrie joining the WNBA. And I mean, that logo I feel like is very clean. I like that. Not so much the team that's coming in 2026 up in Toronto, but we don't have to talk about that right now. Um, I know that we want to talk about, I guess, with the expansion of WNBA, like kind of their strategy and everything like that, you know, because this was something like you wanted to bring up. So, what do you feel about where the league is? I guess looking to expand and everything like that. You fine with Golden State as a choice? What do you think about the logo? Like, how are you feeling about what's going on with the
I think
expansion
it's
right
cute.
now? Yeah.
In all honesty, I think it's cute because you got the Golden State Warriors and then you got the Golden State Valkyries. The
Mm-hmm.
Valkyrie is a female warrior in Norse mythology. I think that's cute.
I mean,
I like the
it's
colors
fitting.
too, but I'm just a purple person.
Mm-hmm.
And the Warriors deserve the WNBA franchise. They've sustained some NBA success. They deserve a WNBA franchise if they wanted one.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the expansion. I don't like the WNBA is just a messy. It's just a messy place, and I just hate it. I really hate that it's just so damn messy. I'm like, are we grown women or are we teenagers?
Mm-hmm.
Grow up. It
Yeah.
do. It really do.
Yeah.
I got to get me a jersey, and I know that in the WNBA expansion draft process, because they got to do it again next year
Mm-hmm.
for their team in Toronto. Um, if you hear paper crinkling, somebody is biting on her toy right now.
It's all good. We've already established Bella's the third member.
that she's yeah. So it'll be interesting next year to see which six players teams protect. Because I knew Kate Martin was going to end up going.
Mm-hmm.
She was a first round draft pick, and the Aces could only protect six players. I kind of knew she was going to go, but I was pleasantly surprised with Atlanta being okay parting with Monique Billings.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they drafted in this little preliminary draft tells me they're going for size right now, which I'm not particularly too mad at. And they
Yeah.
still get a first round draft pick in the upcoming WNBA draft to fill out some more. So I feel like they're on the up and up. I just want the league to stop being so ding dang on messy and petty.
I mean, it's. I guess it's kind of just an extension of the whole Olympic stuff. Like that was all messy and everything. So hey, the league is popular now. You know, they're good or bad. They have stars within the league that create a lot of buzz on social media. I do think that the fact they're in Golden State will now open it up to like Curry and those guys showing up and bringing even more attention to Golden State's franchise. We already talked about the logo
They wore
looking.
the jersey.
Yeah, I mean, look, the black and purple gives you the whole Black Panther vibe. Like it's all there. I mean, I do wish Toronto had a better name than Tempo, but it is what it is. Their logo looks like old school pacer with I don't know. It just looks like when you look at this one from Golden State and you look at the Toronto one, you're just like, did the same team not work on the Toronto logo and the name that they did for Golden State, or like what's that about? And Toronto, you had the Raptors. You couldn't have gone like a different dinosaur or
You,
something like that. Like I don't know.
Toronto Tundra was right there, right
Yeah,
freaking there,
yeah. But
with a
they
a fire cold logo, something like that.
mm-hmm.
You're in Canada, it's cold. Play off of that Tundra. What? Where's that creative director? They need to hire me.
Right. We'll see. We'll see what they do with it. I don't know. Oh, Anthony's telling us that Travis Hunter won the Heisman.
I knew that. I knew he was gonna get it.
Oh,
They're
I mean,
mad that he won the Litnikoff.
oh yeah, because I remember Dion was going off about Travis not. Yeah. I mean, hey, you got some hardware. It's all good. I mean, his only competition was probably Genty from Boise State anyway, but Travis Hunter has the following and the storyline makes a lot of sense. So shout out to Travis Hunter. Now we'll see where he ends up in the draft. Maybe he's a Patriot next year. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so I guess wrapping up WNBA before we move on. They have expansion going with shows prosperity within the league. You have the new TV contract coming next year, which I feel like the details in terms of the WNBA are a little bit vague still. I think that they still have their. I feel like they'll probably have a bigger presence on like ESPN Plus and maybe Amazon Prime, but don't quote me on that. I just feel like it'll be good for them because now you'll just know where to go to watch games. Centralized, cool. So if they're going to expand beyond Toronto, like what's a city you think absolutely needs a WNBA team to continue the growth of the league? Or maybe you have two cities. I don't know.
Let's think. Detroit?
Which they did have one before because they had the Detroit Shock, and then I think Detroit moved to, they might have moved to like Tulsa or something like that. I can see
Mm,
that. Detroit, I mean, Detroit fans are very passionate about basketball. That's not a bad choice.
Houston?
What would you say?
Houston fans are always crying about something, whether it's about the Oilers uniforms or about the Comets. Houston, make them
I mean,
crybabies shut up.
the Comets were like a pioneer franchise for the league, so
They
I could,
were.
yeah. That one did surprise me that when they folded, but that was back when the league was really struggling with money.
Hmm.
Okay, so Houston, Detroit, those
Uh,
aren't bad.
Miami, maybe.
They could get very interesting with like a Miami name and uniform kind of logo. I
Hmm.
mean, I knock culture all the time, but yeah, I think Miami would work. I mean, I know Carrington in Connecticut talked about Boston, which being from Boston, I would love to see it. I don't know how. I don't
That's
know.
too close.
Yeah, because then a lot of people from Boston go to Mohegan Sun because it's like I think it's like 3 hours or so. If you put a team in Boston, what do I do for the Connecticut following? And I don't think the league wants to do that to Connecticut which Connecticut's another kind of flagship franchise for the league as well. The only way they would probably
Milwaukee.
do that is if they moved Connecticut to Boston. I don't know if they want to do that either. So maybe down the line, like if they're like blowing up and they need like 30th team, maybe. But I kind of think for Boston, you just have to live with Connecticut right now.
Milwaukee. Actually, no, because the state of Wisconsin is not ready for female basketball players. Leave that alone.
Well, I mean, I guess looking at the Caitlin Clark stuff, Midwest basketball, they probably do need more of a Midwest presence. I don't know what they
They
do
got
Iowa.
Indiana and Chicago.
Yeah, man, they kind of got it covered there. We'll see. We'll see what they
And
decide.
they got Minnesota.
That's right. They do in Minnesota. Yeah. I wonder what they do in like Oklahoma with the Thunder, because that area is like very big with like college crowd and a lot of intensity. Maybe they could go to
Mhm.
that area, and I don't know. It's wide open for the WNBA, which is kind of a good thing with them and the growing popularity. That there's probably a lot of cities that they went to would probably be a hit, at least right now, because obviously they have to continue with the talent and everything, and we know down the line, like you have Paige, you got Juju, you got all these big names coming through. Obviously, need that to continue if the league's going to continue to grow and be as big as they want it to be.
Mhm.
So, good luck to the WNBA. But let's go ahead move on to another NBA topic. Now, I had to pick an image. I felt like this would probably perfectly encapsulate your feeling with your Lakers. So, want to talk about what's wrong with the Lakers. I feel like early in the
Where do
season,
I start?
well, I feel like, well, I'm just gonna set it up here that season started, they were doing really well. I think people were very optimistic. They were, loving everything that was going on. And now when you look at it, it's kind of bottoming out. They're now 10th in the West. So they went from, top six squad to now a playing team, which is what they've been. So yeah, you as a Lakers fan. So just to let you guys know, I'm a Celtics fan. Jory's a Lakers fan. So I will chime in on this as an outsider and try not to let the Celtics, blood in me, pick them too much. But yeah, so for you, what's the biggest issue or issues with the Lakers right now?
Start falling. And then the people taking the shot.
Mm-hmm.
I have most of the roster categorized into three or a couple different categories. We have get the hell off my team, which means Cam Reddish, Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, Jared Vanderbilt
Okay.
playing well,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis, LeBron James. I will give D'Angelo Russell his credit as of right now. But will I
Okay.
be ripping him? Will I be ripping him a new one in about a month? Probably.
Fair.
Getting it back together, we have Rui and Connect, and who does not play much, and I do not want to hear from is Bronny. Now the main issue, production from the depth. The first four names you heard me say are the main ones that I'm relying on coming off of the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared Vanderbilt hasn't been healthy in a minute. Trade his butt for a bag of chips. I don't care. He's wasting a roster spot. Like, and don't get me started on LeBron. Do not get me started on LeBron because the one game that he was not there, everybody else, well, Rory decided he figured out how to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still sick because only three people had double digits that game.
Mm-hmm.
And we won. I knew it was going to be some BS after that. Anthony Davis, Rui, and who else was it? Was it D'Angelo that had 20 points apiece?
Yes, I think
And then
yeah.
you get like 20 something from everybody else. Like, um, that is pathetic.
Hmm.
And then the perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Try, I get tired of that. I'm
Okay.
like, I feel like JJ's doing fine with what he has. He don't have much. If we're gonna be completely honest, he don't have much. Trade Cam Reddish for a pack of crackers. Get Gabe Vincent off my team for a pack of CDs that don't nobody use no more. Christian Wood can go for a 2008 Honda Accord for all I care. And Vanderbilt, he can get shipped off back to Vanderbilt. That's how I feel about that. I will give credit to Christie
Hmm.
for stepping up
Okay.
in place of Austin Reeves because he's been hurt and I know he has to work his way back into shape.
Hmm.
Um, JJ's fine. He's gonna do fine. I'm just over the BS on the defensive end. Will we
Okay.
stop looking like dead weight when it comes to perimeter defense? Good lord. The paint ain't the problem, it's the perimeter.
Hmm. No.
And the inconsistent shooting.
Yeah. I was about to say I agree with both of those because I think when I have watched the Lakers, especially in transition, they have this mentality where they all run to the paint and then try to spray out to perimeter guys.
Like,
It,
stop doing that.
yeah, and with today's NBA, the NBA that everybody has a problem with, a lot of these teams put four guys on the court that can shoot the three. So if you sag too much into the paint and try to run back out, you're not going to get out there fast enough. So that's one where I definitely agree with you. And the offense, I think this has been an issue that's been with the Lakers for a couple of years. Who are the guys that you can depend on to burn teams from the perimeter? Because we know LeBron's 3-point shooting is very streaky. You'll kind of know early on whether or not he has it going or not. And when he doesn't, yeah, he'll start forcing them up if it's needed because other guys aren't stepping up. That's where D'Angelo Russell, like that's literally supposed to be his one job, is to knock down open threes. But D'Angelo Russell is about as inconsistent as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the other night, I don't know what's necessarily going on with Dalton Connect, but it seems like his shot is messed up right now. And I think it's a mental thing where he's missed some shots now. And now every time he takes one, his form is slower and he's like aiming. That's a problem. So he kind of has to get back into the groove he had early in the season where he was playing really confident. He lost that. He has to regain that. I think
He's the
Reeves,
only one that gets a pass.
right? He's a rookie. Like this is stuff that you're supposed to like live with. And yeah, like I'm saying, like I'm not gonna put any blame on him. I think Reeves is kind of similar where if he has it going from the perimeter, he's the guy who can knock down 25, 30 points for you. But then you got to live with those nights where the shot's a little off and he gets frustrated out there. So
Mm-hmm.
the real thing is like the depth of the team isn't there, and the players that you do have, a lot of them are inconsistent. And I don't know how you necessarily fix that, which is why I think sometimes after the games you look at JJ, and JJ looks like a man who's caught between being coach and having to say it one way and wanting to be analyst JJ and just kind of air stuff out. Because you'll see
Yep.
him take like
I kind of like that too.
yeah, because you'll see him, he'll get a question, he'll take like that deep breath, and like a long break where you know in his head he's like, I can't just say that, so I'll have to say it this way. And then he'll take like a
Mm-hmm.
breath and then start talking. And I know that's something that he's battling with like every night. And
Because
like
you
I
want to
said,
put it out there.
yeah, and like I said, I have no problem with that because I think that is something that's going to help him, especially in a big market like LA. Because there are Laker fans who probably want a coach in there that's going to tell like it is. And I know Anthony put like the guy on the screen here. I feel like some Laker fans are at the point where they want a coach who's willing to tell LeBron like what it is, what you need to do, what you have to do, like what you're doing wrong. And I think JJ kind of has that built in. So I mean, we'll see because LeBron's away from the team right now.
Good. Stay away. Be away. Do I need to spray Raid? Bye.
Well, I mean, now the conspiracy will be like if he stays away for an extended period of time, it's going to be is he trying to get his way out? Is he this? Is it that? Or is it just that he's got something personal going on right now and that's why he's stepping
That
away?
man's birthday coming up. He don't care right now.
But I was saying it's like his birthday's coming up, but I was like, does he do the step away this early? And I was kind of thinking, I was like, I think this is about the time when he does that. So that might be what it is, which is weird because it's the same guy who announced play all 82 games. And we all knew around your birthday you love taking games off. So,
Yeah, and then he got a foot injury. So
yeah. Oh, let me catch up with comments here. Saturday night on NBC for WWE is Wild Tonight. That is the event. John said, congrats to Travis Hunter on the Heisman. Yes, we said that earlier. That's definitely a big award for him. Um, so, yeah, they're in the 10th spot. They have the Spurs right behind them. The Spurs, they kind of go through their moments where they look really good and some where they still look like that struggling team. So, John, we'll get to that shortly. But for you, Jory, Lakers fan, what's your level of worry with this team right now in terms of because it's still early playoffs?
this is not a championship roster. This is a one and done roster.
Okay.
So unless we do something at the trade deadline and get them four trash bags off of my squad,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing. I have no expectations.
Okay.
This is like one of my Titans. When you have a first year head coach, your expectations just need to drop down to this.
Mm-hmm.
And your roster is full of holes, expectations just drop down to this.
Right.
Now, granted, earlier in the season, I was pleasantly surprised. I said it's not gonna last, but right on schedule. As soon as I said it wasn't gonna last, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't have any expectations for them. They
Okay.
make the playoffs, great. If they miss the playoffs, can we get a lottery pick?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Fix
mean,
the team.
I think the one problem with that is obviously once again the guy on the screen wasn't brought in to go through a season like this. So will the
Ain't this his
pressure?
last year?
We'd like to think that, but we know with LeBron, he's done the Bronny thing. We know Bryce is right there down the line. We know for LeBron, he'd love to be in there for both, but I wonder if the pressure will be there for the Lakers to entertain trading him this deadline and how, and I guess whether or not, Genie and those others in the front office could handle the bit of PR hit they might get from a section of Lakers fans if they were to actually move him. Because we know that's always a thing that some of these franchises don't necessarily want to move LeBron unless LeBron wants to be moved because they know he has such a following in every city he plays in. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Send him to Charlotte. I don't care.
Right. So John did ask, Our thoughts on the Warriors getting Dennis Schroeder, which that deal was made earlier today. So now they now have a backup point guard. Give spell Curry and all that. Like, what do you think about this pickup for the Warriors?
I had to move because the comment was covering my money maker.
I know. I was going to take it down. Do you like
Good
the
for
pickup?
them, I guess.
Yeah.
If it works for them, it works. I guess.
Mm.
Steve Kerr, I don't know what goes on in that mind, but he has 4 championships, and I cannot question it.
Mm. I mean, they're off to a good start. It's hard to not look at this as a good pickup for them. Like I said, it gives them another guy off the bench that you can rely on to score a little bit on the second unit. Maybe some nights if Curry isn't available, he give you a spot start. He's a vet in this league. He knows his way around. I,
Hmm.
I'm not the biggest Schroeder guy because I do think sometimes I feel like sometimes in his mind he like overrates himself, and you'll see that on
He
the court
does.
where he'll start doing some crazy stuff. But it's hard not to like a veteran pickup like that with a team in Golden State that is still trying to balance out the old guard, these young players who played well this year, like Kaminga and those guys. Schroeder isn't. I don't think Schroeder's like that old, even though he's kind of been around for a while. So I gotta say I like the pickup. Well, we'll have to see obviously how he plays in their system and everything like that. But yeah, for now it's a good move by them.
At least
Okay.
he ain't got to go back. He don't have to coach up Ben Simmons
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I thought Brooklyn was okay with him. Like Brooklyn's a real pesky team, but they don't have a lot of talent. So this might be the beginning of maybe Brooklyn dealing out some pieces, getting towards the trade deadline because they have some guys that will be attractive, like Cam Thomas, or I mean, Cam Thomas will probably be the main guy, but
Give me Cam Thomas. I'll give you Cam Reddish and a pack of crackers.
well, the problem with that is I do think the whole Cam Reddish hype with each spot that he's gone, it's gotten less and less, and I think to the point now where I don't know if the Cam Reddish hype is enough to really get much for him. Like at this point, you might just get like a second round pick for him, which
I'll take it.
right is like that might just be good enough right now. All right, let's go on to. Well, I mean, obviously we will be talking Lakers periodically throughout the season. All right, CFB playoff. So this is obviously something that was a little bit bigger last week, but just to let you guys know, this is the bracket. Now it's odd because they prioritized conference championships, so it's weird seeing like Oregon number one, which like okay, you see Georgia number two, okay, seeing a Boise State 3, Arizona State 4. It's because they're conference champions. They get those spots. Then we have Texas at the 5, going against Clemson, 12 seed. You got Ohio State at 8, Tennessee at 9, Penn State 6, SMU 11, Notre Dame 7, Indiana 10. I know a lot of people said Oregon's path is the toughest or whatever. So I know that you wanted to bring this up because you wanted to talk about kind of the impact of this playoff on like next season and stuff like that. So I'll let you take the floor on that. Go right ahead.
First of all, if they wanted to just to have an Oregon Georgia um championship, the BCS would have did that just fine, just a little bit shorter. Look at this crap.
I actually don't think both of them make the final. I think only one
Me
of them
neither.
does.
But I'm like, I get it. This new format with the traditional 14 playoffs, I get it.
Hmm.
To get more parity, but you're also getting subpar teams that really don't usually get in and probably should not get in. To them messing around, beating somebody and winning a championship. Clemson, Dabo.
John thinks I'm
Huh.
trying to put voodoo on his ducks. John, I'm not. I'm not trying to do
No,
that.
we're trying to jinx the dogs.
Yes, because I will say you said if they wanted to get Oregon, Georgia into the final, the BCS could have done that. I don't think there's much of a chance Georgia actually gets to the final. I think if it worked out a certain way, I think Penn State could beat Georgia.
I hope they do. All these
Well,
barking
here you
ass
go.
idiots in here.
Is also an Oregon guy, and he says Texas is going to beat Oregon. So John and
And
Anthony,
I
y'all
live
can
in
work
Georgia. I'm tired of these barking idiots.
that out.
I'm like, good God. They
Yeah.
bark until they're red in the face. Or purple, depending on the color of their skin. They're a different color by the time they're done barking.
Mm-hmm.
They're annoying. And they shouldn't be in there anyway. But Texas couldn't handle its business. Texas could not handle its business. All Texas had to do was beat the crap out of Georgia, and they could not do that. Just like all SMU had to do. No, all Clemson had to do was finish whooping their butt. But Dabo let SMU hang in there for a reason. He blew that damn lead for a damn reason. He did it on purpose. And I'm not going to sit here on my high horse, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm upset about who made the playoffs and who did not. I don't care. I know that Vanderbilt loss hurt. Oklahoma, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. I do think that's a key point you're making because I think it's good to establish that yes, you are a Bama fan, but you also understand why Bama's not in the playoff. Like you're not
I
one of the Bama
know.
fans. Yeah, you're not one of the Bama fans that's like, oh, we should be in no matter what. Like we're Bama. Like we don't take so and so over us. Like they shouldn't be in. Just wanted to reiterate that.
But the thing I'm upset about is not the fact that they're out. It was the reasoning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel I'm gonna say it in a way that kind of makes it kind of clear. It's BS because if they're sitting the college football, whoever that blind bastard, the playoff director
Okay.
said what he said about strength of schedule not mattering and da 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 da, and we value da 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 da, when that usually wasn't the case. This inconsistent what are you recipe of what they're looking for and how they pull these teams together is what's killing me.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the standard recipe, by the standard computerized recipe that the BCS went through, if we took that recipe and put it with the playoffs, do you think SMU gets in? Do you get Boise? Do you get Arizona State? No.
Mm-hmm.
Should they probably be in? No. And if you
Well,
look at SMU's schedule,
mm-hmm. Well, I'm about to say because I was going to say like Arizona State as a conference champion, that's what helps them.
I get it. That
Yeah.
part I get.
Yeah.
If SMU,
Mm-hmm.
that schedule, oh my lord. I said if they're not gonna let that hold that against them, like that hold that against other teams,
Mm-hmm.
like they just held the whole strength of schedule thing against for SMU Again, I get why Alabama is not in. I
Mhm.
understand that. But Vanderbilt is probably a better team than half of the team that was on that schedule. Vanderbilt was a pretty decent team this year, and Oklahoma has an offense that is absolutely hell to deal with.
Mhm.
I'm not giving excuses, but the SEC, the arch, the schedule. Yes, we had three losses, but look at this. If you, I'm about to pull up their schedule because I'm like,
No, SMU, I
does
have it
strength of
because
schedule don't
I
matter?
pulled it up. So SMU beat Nevada, then they beat I think it was like Houston Baptist or something. They lost to BYU. They beat TCU. They beat Florida State. Beat Louisville. Beat Stanford. Beat Duke, Pittsburgh, BC, Virginia, California, and then lost to Clemson.
What was the
So
combined record?
The BYU loss was a ranked team. Other than that, that was the only ranked opponent that they had.
And we had three, and we had a top 10 win. But they went for SMU to get in based off of they appeared in the championship with a soft ass record like Sharman. Really?
Hmm.
And we had three top 10 wins, three top 25 wins, one top 10 win. And I'm not saying that we should have got in based on how we were playing. We had an argument, and that argument was all of a sudden made null and void. And it's always like this every year. Fix the system so that they know how to consistently break and grade these teams. We can't sit here and put an emphasis on out of conference scheduling and strength and then completely disregard it when it comes down to the committee.
Hmm.
Can't do that because what's going to happen is these teams are going to start looking at these schedules differently. They already looking at them different. What's the point of scheduling big name schools if that's not going to help you? Give me Bishop Sycamore and FAMU. So I'm like, that's the precedent that was set. We cannot sit here and disregard, look at somebody going on a Cinderella team, on a Cinderella run in a weak conference for a better team because of the record. If that's not what has been traditionally been set apart. I'm like, and if they were like the ACC. Well, the ACC has been weak since I've grown up. The ACC has been weak. They're on their last leg. They have notorious crybabies who have been, for the most part, irrelevant. The whole deserving mantra because of the conference championship appearances is exactly the reason why we got TCU versus Georgia. And y'all called that crap boring. Like, let's be consistent. And whoever cries doesn't need to be crying. Build better programs. Get your ass in the field and play. Be consistent about the grading system.
I
Sorry.
think that's very fair. Very fair. Um, all right. So when I looked at this, and knowing that you obviously support Bama, I thought the easiest way for Bama to get in would have been SMU beat Clemson. You kind of take Clemson completely out of the equation. Bama gets in. The minute Clemson won that game, I said it's now a conversation that may not necessarily go Bama's way, but I was kind of like you thinking that because of previous uh, committees, If it's close and you're looking at Bama or an SMU, they normally lean towards the bigger name school. So I do think, in the grand scheme of things, them leaving Bama out works because it now gives ACC teams or any other conference that's not Big Ten or SEC the mentality that if we win enough, they'll put us in. No matter if we have Bama behind us or South Carolina or Miami or one of these bigger brands, they'll put us in. So that's one. Two, I definitely agree with you where this isn't like NFL where schedules are pretty uniform. You know who you're going to play. You're going to basically play the same schedule as other people within your division. College football is not like that. The only thing they have in common is they play within the same conference. But even with that, not every team plays the same opponents in conference as other teams. So some people will get a stronger schedule than others, and non-conference is a free for all. It's Wild West out there. Like you can
Mhm.
schedule Citadel, UMass, and bottom feeders. Some teams it works for them because it's just wins. Other teams they have to do more. So that's also a problem that college football has when it comes to this, and it comes down to last week of the season. How do you really evaluate Team A versus Team B? I think the third thing is because you are dealing with a committee. There's a human element to it. I know they're not supposed to technically be biased with their arguments, but it's hard to think that a room of human beings, some bias won't get into certain arguments. So it's almost like, does college football have to go back to the computer with the expanded playoff? Because at least with the computer, you program it to crunch numbers on these teams and then spit out a top 12 or whatever. I guess that might be possible to program it that way. I think the problem that we had before was we never knew what the computers were computing or how much they were weighing certain things. So I think if you went back to the computer and the NCAA, which this is difficult to expect them to do, were transparent with the process, I, I feel like everybody I feel like nobody would have a problem with that. These schools would know, like, oh, the computer likes strength of schedule, we'll schedule tougher games. If the computer's like, we're going to weigh conference finish over so and so, fine, we'll schedule this way then. And then that would eliminate a lot of this. So once again, like you understand why Bama's out. I can understand why SMU is in, obviously. I know John's talking about Indiana, who they played all year until OSU. Part of Indiana may just end up being that they're a nice story, which, fine. Because I also think when you look at college basketball, like college basketball, if they saw this, college basketball would be fine with it because college basketball's like mentality is different. For college basketball, it's like, give me upsets, like give me as many upsets as you want. For some reason, the college football crowd hates upsets when it comes to playoffs. Like
Mhm.
there are legit college football fans that if SMU upset Penn State, if Indiana upset Notre Dame, they'll say like the whole season was worthless. I'm not one of those with that mentality. I think that's wild, but I think that's what it turns to. And then the same crew, if it's nothing but like if the Final Four ended up being Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Georgia, then they'll say 12 teams is too much because we just have the big boys anyway. So for college football, it's really hard to satisfy college football fans. That's something I've learned a lot since moving to the South, where it's a bigger deal than up north. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I think the committee did okay with this group. Like I said, they weren't going to make everybody happy, but I just think going forward, they just have to do a better job explaining things. I agree with you. A lot of times when they go to those committee members and throw questions at them, those committee members do not do the process justice. they kind of make it more complicated.
They
So
make it worse.
yeah,
And they don't like getting outraged from angry fans, but then they open their mouth and piss all the fans off anyway,
yeah. So that's like their biggest
which is
problem.
what they did.
Yeah, the committee members have to do a better job conveying what they're looking for. Okay. Um, so I did ask in the chat, like, who do you guys have winning it all? And
Can it
well,
be a tie?
I'm assuming Anthony. I'm assuming John's gonna say Oregon because he's an Oregon guy. Anthony did say Texas will beat Oregon, so I'm gonna maybe assume Anthony might go Texas to win it all.
SMU.
I mean, if you want to see college football fans completely lose their mind, yeah, if SMU wins it all, college football fans will not know what to do with themselves. Or
I'm
Indiana.
saying that to
Indiana
be
wins it
petty.
too. Yeah,
I'm saying that to be very petty. SMU. Go all the way.
all
Prove
right.
your Cinderella run.
Yeah.
Bunch of jabronis.
That's what I'm saying. Look, if you root for chaos, you want SMU to win it all.
Anybody but Georgia. I can't stand that smug. I love Kirby Smart.
Hmm.
But anybody but Georgia, because I can't stand their fans.
That's fair. So John has Oregon, Notre Dame national title game with Oregon by 6. Anthony
Notre
says
Dame plays
win it all
Indiana.
Ohio State. Yes, Ryan Day needs a good showing in the playoff to keep his job. So Tennessee's gonna be a tough matchup. He obviously has to win that.
He's walking into a butt kicking.
Hmm?
Ryan Day is walking into a butt kicking.
Yeah. Well, he has to beat Tennessee number one against
I
Oregon.
don't think that's gonna happen.
I kind of don't either, but I feel like that's what he needs. That's what he needs. Oregon, to be honest with you, he probably needs to beat Oregon to keep his job. If he makes the semifinals, I think he gets another year out of it. I don't know if that happens. Also, you guys in the chat, uh, ESPN does have like a college football bracket contest thing. I'm willing to fill out a bracket, create a group for you all to like join in and see if you can predict it better than me. I'm willing to do that if you guys want to do that. I'll wait like after the show. I'll do want to post it up on Integrity Sports Network, and then you guys can join in or not.
I'm too bitter to do it.
I mean, you should do it and just put SMU to win it all, just to you know, just to shake up the algorithm of the ESPN. Anthony says, "Who cares about
Right,
Notre Dame's?"
Anthony. Who cares? Right. Who
But
cares?
I kind of thought the way that the committee put this, in that you can only be a top 4 seed if you win a conference championship. I thought that was them testing Notre Dame to see how bold they were going to be with this independent status. And as Notre Dame has shown, they don't care. They are fine being a 5th seed at best. They're going to stay independent. Like if this didn't push them into a conference, nothing will. Maybe they'll wait a couple of years and then think about it. But for right now, they're a 7 seed. They're perfectly fine with that.
And then if they mess around and beat Indiana, they're gonna be fodder for Georgia.
That might be what does it for them. If they get embarrassed, well, if they lose to Indiana, I feel like Notre Dame fans might start crying. Like, let's join the ACC. It'll be easier. Or if they get embarrassed by Georgia's, yeah, I don't know. I hate the fact that Notre Dame's still independent. Like, one, every other sport they do ACC except for football because they make so much money with NBC. It's just so.
Mm-hmm.
I think style of
Now,
play
how
wise
do they get
is
away with this?
because they're a historical brand. So them and NBC have always been kind of in bed with each other, and they just don't have the need to change anything. And plus, NCAA doesn't really have a governing body that's going to tell Notre Dame you have to join a conference. I think style of play they probably fit Big Ten more, but everything else is ACC. They should just join the ACC. John says Ryan Day is 0-4 against Michigan, which is brutal as an Ohio State coach. 0-2 against Oregon, brutal. Oregon and Michigan is going to just get better. Ryan Day is Tyler or bust. And then Anthony said, let's do it. I guess that was for the college football bracket thing. So, yes, after the show, I'll post it up on Integrity Sports Network. You guys can join and fill out your bracket, and we'll see who predicts it better. Notre Dame can go to the Pac-12, which no longer exists. So, yeah. I mean, Notre Dame is very easy to hate on them. So I did find this as an interesting exercise along with this. I don't know how well this comes through, but basically somebody took the 4 teams that I guess had the biggest claim for not making the playoff and put up a blind resume to, I guess, get people to try to guess who is who and which team had the biggest gripe for not making it. So if you can't see it, I'll
yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, because I'm gonna end up putting my whole face in the camera trying
Yeah,
to see.
I got you. I got you. All right, so Team A went 10-2, ranked 14th, strength of schedule of 55. So the biggest things for them, lost by 4 points to their only CFP ranked opponent. So they had 0 CFP ranked wins. And against teams with a winning record, they went 3-2. That's their big claim. Team B went 9-3, ranked 13th, strength of schedule of 15th. Against the current top 25, they went 2-2. And their best win, they won at number 17th ranked in the college football playoff. Team C went 9-3, ranked 11th, strength of schedule 17th. Their best win was against the number 5 team in the country currently, and their record against teams with a winning record was 5-1. Team D went 9-3, ranked 15th, strength of schedule 31. Against the current top 25, they are 2-0. And their best win was also versus the 5th ranked team in the country. So I guess who has the biggest gripe?
I already know the third one.
You know who Team C is.
I think so. That sounds oddly familiar.
Okay. So who is Team C?
Would that be Alabama?
Team C is absolutely Alabama. So looking at that.
Because they have the biggest gripe.
Okay.
How you go 5-1?
Yeah, they're 5-1. Strength of schedule is 17, which I mean, Team B strength of schedule was 15th, and they have the same record. Yeah, 5-1. Team B went 3-3. Now, Team B went 4-1 in road neutral games. Alabama was 2-3 in road neutral games. So, okay, so you do. So you knew Team C was Alabama. Do you have any idea who the other 3 teams could be?
One of them is one of them is Miami.
So Anthony thinks Team B is Miami.
Yeah, because they ruined their loss by SMU by Syracuse.
And John thinks D is Navy. So I will say you're both wrong, actually. Team B is not Miami. Miami
was 10-2.
Miami is actually.
So they team
Miami's Team A. So they're the,
I knew it.
They're the worst strength of schedule out of the 4 teams here. And 0 CFP ranked wins. But a lot of Miami fans.
Is South Carolina 9-3? It was South Carolina that was strong.
So you're saying South Carolina is Team B?
Yes.
South Carolina is Team B. Yes.
I know the 2 biggest crybabies that's been getting on Bama's ass ain't talking.
So if you're South Carolina, your strength of schedule is a little better than Alabama. You have the same record. Bama's point differential was 18.3 points. South Carolina was 13.8. South Carolina's 2-2 versus the top 25. Alabama was 3-1. Let's see. Point differential in those games as well. Alabama was a +9. South Carolina was a -4.8. And Bama's best win, fifth ranked team. South Carolina was the 17th ranked team. So yeah, if you're Bama, you're like South Carolina, you can kind of step aside as well. So Team D, who is Team D? John guessed Navy. It's not Navy.
Name it off. I like this. Name it off.
Hmm?
I said I like this, and I'm thinking it's either
Okay.
God,
So once again,
is it another SEC team?
strength of schedule 31, went 9-3, ranked 15th. He says it is SEC's team.
Hmm.
It is also an SEC team.
Is it Ole
It
Miss
is Ole Miss, yes.
with Crybaby Lane and them fake injuries?
Yeah. So if you're looking at these four teams with just a blank resume, if you know somebody who's a Bama fan that's whining about it, they have the biggest case out of these four teams. Anthony said, I hope Team D is not Colorado or Illinois.
It's Ole Miss.
It's Ole Miss, yes. So there you go.
I went 4 for 4.
Yeah, the South Carolina one was a big one that you picked up on. So,
Yeah, because I know they've been crying the most.
mm-hmm. I think Miami's kind.
They've been doing the most whining.
I think Miami's kind of quieted down a little bit, but yes, South Carolina, Ole Miss, like they are livid about it.
I mean that loss to Syracuse should have shut Miami up.
Yeah, the back-to-back for Miami losing Syracuse and Georgia Tech did not do them any favors. I know Georgia Tech hung tough with Georgia, but just the way that Miami lost the Georgia Tech game was brutal. And then the turnaround and losing Syracuse, yeah, that eliminated them. Their best bet would have been if they had lost those two games and still made the ACC title game, they might have had a chance. But once because they went from fifth ranked, undefeated, to just fumbling the bag at the end. So yeah, there was no chance. John said thought it was FSU, which obviously is a shot at them from last year, where yes, this kind of happened to them.
They were crying.
Yeah, which I understood with them because they were told by the committee like, oh, your quarterback got hurt, that's why you didn't get in. I remember watching Ohio.
I kind of understood.
I watched an Ohio State team with Cardale Jones come off the bench, and they went on to do great in the playoff. But not every team's the same.
And then the committee set them up for absolute failure
Mm-hmm.
to get them versus Georgia, who was also mad that they didn't get it. They didn't get in either.
Yes.
They set them up for fodder.
And plus, the way this season went for Florida State doesn't really help them in any way for last year. Like they turned around from that season and became like one of the worst Division I schools in the country. Although they got a new quarterback as DJ Ungale. I'm hoping he just enters the draft, probably doesn't get picked or gets picked like the fifth, sixth round. We don't see him in college anymore because they are bringing in former BC quarterback Castellanos will be the next Florida State quarterback. I can guarantee you he will win more games than DJ did.
He will.
John said Georgia lost their quarterback too. Hey, okay, Florida State doesn't need to hear that. Florida State was worried about themselves. But all right, so the blind. I actually like these blind resumes too, especially like college basketball. I'll look at them a lot and try to do that as well. I guess now with this expanded playoff, you'll kind of get these more often, which I like as well. All right, let's keep moving. So in the NFL, Al-Shaair had the hit on Trevor Lawrence that, shook the world, and he got this 3-game suspension. We all know Shaair has a past. He's got a history. He has the, incident with Caleb Williams and all this other stuff. I feel like the suspension, some people are saying it's too much. Some are saying, I think it's mainly too much or not at all. But I feel like the conversation that people are having out of this hit, what do you do with quarterbacks? Because a lot of them are clever. Patrick Mahomes can fake slide, gain a couple extra yards, which causes some defenders, because they understand how big of a penalty it is for a late hit on a quarterback, they'll pull up. Trevor Lawrence was definitely sliding here, so this doesn't necessarily work here because he was giving himself up. Al-Shaair still went through with it, whatever. So looking at this, like, what what should quarterbacks? Well, I guess how much blame should quarterbacks take for the kind of current
A lot,
of this? Okay, yeah. So you have
a lot. They're the main reason why this like that this incident aside,
mm-hmm,
we're gonna frame this incident aside.
mm-hmm,
I'm not talking about Shahir's yet.
mm-hmm,
The other ones that I've seen that are usually because of a quarterback not getting down or trying to fake it and he still ends up getting rocked. That is 100% the quarterback's fault. And they need to put a rule in because they've already taken so much away from defensive players.
mm-hmm.
These quarterbacks, I agree with Tom Brady. They need to start getting flagged. Every time you do it, it's 15 yards.
So I guess the question,
Every
I guess the
time.
question would be, what would you call the penalty?
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
That actually would be, that actually would be what it would have to be called. Yeah,
He faked the slide, 15-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
I mean, that's not.
I mean, if you really wanted to punish
Mm-hmm,
him, give him a loss of down and the 15 yards. Stop that. You already had these rules tailored to
mm-hmm.
you so you don't get hurt. But now y'all want to be slick. No, stop that bull. And if you fake slide, loss of down and 15 yards. I'm tired of it. What is this, kindergarten, John? Ooh, I'm going down. Don't hit
I
me.
would have to look this up, but John saying possible
What?
rule would be quarterback raises his hand before going down to, I guess, alert the defender that they're going down. I feel like that's too far. I thought
What is
I
this?
thought with hits like the Al-Shaair one, I thought that would change quarterbacks' mentality going forward because these linebackers, these safeties, like when they get ahead of steam going, like they are punishing quarterbacks. So I always thought that like the Joe Flacco hit where he got hit by, I had the linebacker's name like in the front of my mind, but I forget. But he got hit. Helmet comes off, bloodied ear. He's clearly concussed. We've seen Tua with the hits that he's taken. I thought we were going to get to a point where quarterbacks were going to be sliding like 2 yards too early. You'll get fans booing them for being wimps and all this kind of stuff. Which if I'm a team, I'm like, I don't care if you slide early. Like, we're paying you to be out there. I don't need you taking a late slide anyway with some of these guys. Like Al-Shaair, big hitter. Kyle Duggar, big hitter. Like, you got some guys who know how to lay people out. So I need you to take, if you're it's like 3rd and 15, you're scrambling. If you get 8 yards out of it, we'll punt, live for another day. Don't care. John says Tua is still going to dive head first. Well, at that point, like that's a broken record. Like you just let it play out, and he's kind of putting his career in his hands anyway. But
Yeah.
I I think I think this is something that probably coaches will have to drill into their quarterback's head. Slide early. Don't worry about playing bully and trying to gain that.
I want them to take that out the game completely.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how they took out hip drop tackles and all of that stuff. That fake slide crap, they need to take it out. Stop doing that
I feel
crap.
like that's probably gonna.
Because if quarterbacks aren't going to
I feel like if anything,
protect
that'll
themselves,
be something. Fake slides will be gone.
yeah, if the quarterback isn't going to protect themselves, that means we got to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too much. It's unfair to ask for defensive player to maintain that level of physicality and stop on the drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much. That's how you tear your knee out. That's how you tear an ankle out. Tear your ankle up. That's how you get
Mm-hmm.
hurt. So I'm like, yes, I'm faking a slide. It should be a 15-yard penalty and a loss of downs. Yes, because a late hit is 15 yards.
Yeah.
Roughing the passer is 15 yards.
Hmm.
So you don't think that trying to be slick and faking a slide, trying to throw the defense off bounds shouldn't be a 15-yard penalty?
Hmm.
Knowing that they're coming at you, and then you want to do all of that because you think you're Harry Houdini?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, 15 yards.
yeah, it's definitely reached the level that the league has to do something, and whether or not it is a 15-yard penalty or whatever. Uh, okay, so Anthony said, "You get paid more than the whole team. You're gonna take this hit." Okay, and
But they don't.
John kind of brought up, like you said, you
Never
have to do
mind.
something because now the hip drop tackle is being enforced. So I think Anthony's point was like you're on the football field, you have all the protections, like you get hit, you get hit. So I think Anthony's probably like defenders like take the flag away from them, which they'll never go back to that because
They're not going to do
then
that
yeah, then guys are
because if you're
laid
going to
out,
have that
get
type
laid
of tape roughing the passer out,
out. Yeah.
you know how many bogus ass roughing the passer penalties we get?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally starting to review these damn penalties. How many years have we been crying about that?
Mm-hmm.
You can replay a touchdown, you can replay this, that, but you can't replay what something could be roughing the passer, what it couldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Glad that they're doing it.
Yeah. And it may have to extend into plays like this as well, because I think maybe a medium would be if the replay booth determines the quarterback took a slide late, then maybe you just pick up the flag. And yes, you may have a quarterback that's hurt, but you have to just be like,
Yeah, you slid
but you
late.
slid late.
I'm sorry.
So maybe that's where they end up going with this. Like they put this as part of the if it happens, you guys upstairs look at it real quick, let us know. Did the quarterback slide soon enough? If it was a late slide to you, we'll pick the flag up and we keep it moving. That way the defenders, yeah, they may have to think a little bit about if the guy's sliding early not to go ahead with the hit. That's kind of their mentality anyway, for the most part. So this is something that has to be something has to be done for it. So we'll see what the league decides to do because obviously you don't want quarterbacks getting laid out week in and week out. But these defenders have been since little kids taught to chase
Hit.
down the ball carrier and get them to the ground. It's going to be difficult to take that out of their mentality. So something will be done.
I will say, teetering back to this specific situation, the reason why
Yes.
he got 3 games is because he was warned 7 times and fined 7 times before this. And then he wanted to act a damn fool getting off the field. Now, granted, I understand him going back at Evan Ingram. I also understand Evan Ingram trying to sucker punch him in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So he took his helmet off and wanted to fight the entire Jaguars. That's why he got 3 games. His history and the melee that happened after. The fact that he can just get off the field in peace.
Right.
And he probably got 3 games for showing his you know what on social media.
Right. Yeah.
And if that hit wasn't even that bad, that hit was out in bounds. What he should have got suspended for was the one on Tony Pollard that was 2 yards out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened to the Titans and don't nobody care. So that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Also with Pollard being a running back, it's viewed differently as well. Okay.
Don't mean you
So
should be getting hit out of bounds.
right. But I definitely do agree with you. Shaair, the suspension was most likely coming down. I think most people were just waiting to see how many games it was going to be. And to be honest with you, 3 games, I don't have much of a problem with that. Like, I don't think it's going to
I
change
will
necessarily how he
say,
plays, but You got to take the suspension on this one.
Let him come back in week 18 and lay Will out like that and see if somebody don't whoop his ass.
Hmm.
If there's not a fight, if he do that to Will or anybody else on my team and there's not a fight, I don't care he was on the team last year. There should be a fight if he do that type of crap to Will.
I'm sure there will be. Like,
I'll be
no,
watching.
no teammate wants to see their quarterback laid out. And a lot of these offensive linemen are love playing on the edge anyway. So, like, they're ready to throw hands at somebody. Anthony said the faces of the NFL are quarterbacks. Yes, that's why this hit's going to force the league to do something during the offseason. Because in their mind, it'll be, what if it was Patrick Mahomes? What if it was Josh Allen? What if it was Lamar Jackson? Like, they're going to do what they have to. All right. Titans report. The floor is yours, Jory.
I'm over it.
Okay.
All right. Look.
So since you're calling this season basically a wash at this point, you're done with it.
It is
I
washed.
guess I'm asking you a question then. Knowing what you've seen from the team so far this season, biggest need.
Right tackle, right guard, another receiver, edge rusher,
Okay.
backup quarterback, maybe another starter. I don't know where I am with Will yet. I have to watch the other games, the next 4 games.
Okay. So for okay,
That's
so for
pretty much
you,
it.
the way Will finishes the season will determine whether or not you want to draft a quarterback to basically fight him for the job, or just completely move on from him and then start with a different quarterback next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. I see the shape. I see what he's trying. I see what Callahan is trying to do. People have to be mindful. This is a first year head coach on a
Mm-hmm.
team that has a lot of of holes. I'm not even worried about last year. I was worried about the entire line. JC Latham is a rookie. He's gonna have his struggles. The
Mm-hmm.
left side of my line for most of the year has been fine. It's the right side that's been a hot ass mess with Nicholas Petit Frere and his inconsistent self with his bad footwork and he can't set a pass. Oh, and he throws some bad sets too.
Okay. Question from Anthony: would you want to rebuild in the draft or free agency?
Both,
Okay. Well, I
both.
mean, I guess that would have to be the way anyway with both. I guess prioritizing the needs in the draft, or would it be something like you just draft best player available and attack certain needs in free agency?
I would get the best player available, especially on that line, because I do not want somebody's retread offensive lineman.
Okay.
I will develop my own.
Mm-hmm.
I have Bill Callahan. I think he's great.
Right. So even Petit Fred, they might have given him this year to like give them a reason to keep him. Like if there's a guy who's going to evaluate
He
that
can
line,
go.
I'm just saying like if there's a guy you want to evaluate in the line, Bill Callahan is about the best you can have. I mean, John, I could answer this question for would you take Richardson over Levis? I'm going to say you wouldn't.
I'm not even answering that question because that's like
There you
that's playing with my intelligence right now. Such an unserious question. I like what I see for the most part. I do know I need some more speed on the edge.
go. Mm-hmm.
I do know I probably need some more speed at linebacker. One thing to note, Arden Key, we need to start preparing for his departure
Okay.
within this year or next season.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
But I do need some more beef on my defensive line too. So Sebastian Joseph Day is just a body. He's decent, but he's
Hmm.
just a body. I do like Kenneth Murray. Can we keep him?
Okay.
Like keep him. I love him. I love some of the moves that he's made. They've
Hmm.
made. The red zone defense needs to improve. But again, with better personnel, you'll get better results. Denard Wilson is doing great. Tavondre Sweat is doing pretty good.
Hmm.
I like the direction that we're heading. Right now, it's just like growing pains. Will has his growing pains. Every time I see a stupid ass commercial, I just laugh because that's my.
Hmm.
Brian Callahan has his own growing pains as a head coach. This year has taught me to be patient
Okay.
and to look for, to be frank, there's a positive in anything.
Hmm.
Like this offense right now, like even like some more depth at wide receiver could be explosive. Now, Titans fans, I think T. Higgins is staying in Cincinnati. I really think he's staying in Cincinnati because he fired Mulugeta, who's just a money hungry.
Hmm.
He's money hungry and hired the same person who represents Jamar Chase. He's staying in Cincy.
That does, yeah, that does seem like that's at least that's the hope, because obviously it takes two. So if
Hmm.
Cincinnati completely lowballs him, then he'll probably go. I mean, a lot of teams are gonna be looking at the T Higgins situation, but I agree with you. I think he ends up staying. Now to go with your draft needs, I did Google it. The 2025 draft has strengths including says defensive back, interior defender, says tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and offensive tackles. It's apparently a good draft for offensive tackles. So there you go.
And if there's nobody they can find with that high draft pick that we're gonna get, because it's
Hmm.
gonna be a high draft pick. We lost 10 games, so if it's not a tackle, I wouldn't mind going receiver. If they're gonna get a quarterback,
Hmm.
go get him in the second round, like where you got Will.
Hmm. I have seen a lot of mock drafts with the Titans connected to that wide receiver out of Arizona, who's supposed to be really good. Um,
I wouldn't mind it.
I can't pronounce his first name, but yeah, he's supposedly like the guy at wide receiver that teams are will try to get top of the first round. So at least there's options in there for you. All right, so there's Titans report. So obviously I gotta go ahead. Patriots report coming off of the bye. Like the Patriots season's over. I mean, they knew they were going to be a playoff team weeks ago, but I'll say this every week. I'll keep saying it. The Drake May growth gives you a lot of reasons to be optimistic for next season. I'm definitely optimistic, knowing that they don't need to go find a quarterback. John says draft needs Nick Nash, wide receiver, Travis Hunter, wide receiver, make him special teams, Will Campbell, O line from LSU. Will Campbell, I've seen that name a lot for the line. I would be fine with that. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a cornerback who plays sparingly offensively. So think of Marcus Jones like. I think that's what Travis Hunter is going to end up being in the NFL. Cause I keep hearing like a lot of people are just saying that his body type will better work at cornerback than wide receiver. And then Nick Nash, I got to be honest with you, I don't even know who Nick Nash is. I'll have to look him up. But I agree. They need
San
to get a wide
Jose State.
receiver. Hmm?
I think he played for San Jose State. People were crying about him not getting the Biletnikoff.
Hey, I'm for it then. I mean, when it comes to wide receivers and all that, like if you're good, you're good. I don't care go with San Jose State or anything like that. But I agree with you, John. Wide receiver should be a need. Lineman should be a need. I think linebacker is a need because I kind of want some speed at that position. And also all the talk about Mayo and Wolf need to be replaced. I think that's stupid. They literally just came into the job, had one off season. I would say give them this off season. Let's see what their plan is now that they know they don't need a quarterback. What do they do in free agency? I know they've been linked to T Higgins, but like Jory said, I don't think T Higgins is going anywhere. But if they're looking at T Higgins, that means they're going to probably try to swing something for a wide receiver in free agency. I don't know, but I'm willing to give them this offseason to show me that they'll have some improvements next season. But like I said, coming out of the bye, I just wanted to finish out the season. Want to see Drake May's continued growth and look forward to the draft.
I just don't want to see another blowout. Let that crap
Yeah,
stop.
yeah,
Make it stop. Like,
yeah.
go and nap at halftime,
Hmm.
and you go watch the highlights later.
Yes, I definitely yeah. So Train said optimistic about the Packers. I like the Packers as well. I like what they have going. Toyota Thon Jordan Love is a real thing. Travis Hunter won't Travis Hunter won't be able to play both positions in the NFL. I agree. And May will be there 2 more years. They'll have at least 6, 7 wins next year. John, thank you. I think I don't have a problem with what Gerard Mayo's done this year. I don't understand what some people's issue is. I mean, I know what some of their issues are, but doesn't Cincy have to pay Higgins and Chase? Yes. I feel like the Chase deal is probably kind of done. They'll just wait to announce it in the offseason. I think because of how this season has gone, that might work against T Higgins. Not to lie to you here. The fact that Burrow has done this with the offense, you're gonna have to put so much money into the defense. I don't know if maybe Higgins gets priced out, but I do think Higgins will probably do all he can to stay there. Because if he leaves, there's no guarantee he gets a quarterback like Joe Burrow or a system like Cincinnati.
Look, come down to Nashville. I ain't got a Joe Burrow. I got a Will Levis, and I don't have Zach Taylor. I got Brian Callahan. What
You
am I kidding?
playing off of Calvin Ridley? I mean, why not? Trayton said Toyotathon Jordan Love is the undisputed GOAT. It is hard to argue with. Since I've been told about it, I've been watching it, and it works every year. Around the same time of the season, he ups his game, which I can't be mad at that. But yeah, back to John. Yes, I think Mayo 2 more years would make a lot of sense. Like if they aren't near the playoffs in 2 more years and you want to move on from him, I think at least you gave him a shot. These people saying like he needs to go in the offseason, that's crazy. More no one wants to go to Nashville. Morgan was chucking chairs off roofs down there.
He sure did. He had to serve 7 days in jail for that.
Hey man, get your money's worth. Higgins going to New England. Anthony, if Higgins ends up in New England, I would love it. I don't think he's leaving Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow's going to be like, look, bad enough I lost Tyler Boyd. I lost Joe Mixon. And our defense isn't even good. You're going to lose Higgins now, and there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to fix the defense in one off season. I think Joe Burrow
Oh,
would.
don't they have to pay Hendrickson?
Oh, I think they do. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think Higgins gonna be able to stay in. Chiefs, that defense is done.
I got to see what their cap looks like. Because the amount of names that they
Trajan, if
list.
you chuck a chair off the roof, you might get 10 months.
So John said if they sign Higgins, it'll be below the 30 million mark. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. Mm.
I'm
Between
just
Higgins,
saying, especially in Tennessee.
between Higgins and if it comes down to Higgins or Hendrickson, if I'm Cincinnati, I would sign Hendrickson. Just draft a wide receiver to replace Higgins and kind of keep moving.
They have plenty of receivers.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, if wide receiver is such an issue, like you can draft one and kind of keep that line moving. John says they have 54 million in cap space for next year. That needs to go to that defense. The secondary, like,
Hmm. I mean, Dragon
if
is
I'm
true.
Cincinnati, I draft nothing but defense. Maybe a running back later in the draft, but yeah, that defense has to be the focus of the offseason. I can't watch my guy Joe Burrow go out there, drop 38 points, and then lose 40 to 38 to then turn around and have people blame him for the loss. Like that's wild to me. Let's
Hold
see.
on 1 second.
Okay. Trade you talking about the chair throwing. That's a double standard. Hey, it is what it is.
It's true. Come on.
If you pay both wide receivers, you can't get a defense, or you draft your whole defense. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate that either. Higgins to the Patriots, y'all. Okay. I mean, Patriots got money. We know that. Let Chase become a triple round. He's getting money, money. Okay. All right. I guess that's the end of Patriot Sport. They have the Cardinals come up this week. I will be watching closely to see Kyler Murray in that offense. I'm fascinated to see which Kyler Murray shows up against New England. So John has a question. If the Chargers win out, would Herbert be in the top 5 for MVP? He only has one
No.
interception this year, which is wild. Yeah, I would say no, because top 5, I'm looking at Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley. Um, I think Goff's top 5. If I throw Darnold, maybe. Oh, hold on. There we go.
I hate living in the sticks.
That's okay. That's all right. Um, yeah, I don't think Herbert would be top 5.
No
No, no,
Lamar. No Lamar. Absolutely not.
Lamar's gonna be in the top 5. I don't think he's winning it. At least he shouldn't, but I think he'll be a
He's
top
not the
5.
most valuable player on that team. That's Derrick Henry.
We
And
we know how much these people love Lamar. He'll be top 5. I would probably make the argument he shouldn't be in the top 5, but he'll make his appearance in the top 5.
if it don't go to Josh Allen, this year is going to a running back,
Yeah.
which is wild to say.
So Anthony says telling John that Herbert is not a top 5 quarterback. I think Herbert has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback. One, the Staley years were not going to be helpful to him in any way. I think Harbaugh could get him to that level. Look, a few more seasons with like 1, 2, 3 interceptions, like he'll force himself into that conversation as long as they're consistently a playoff team. At some point, they probably would have to make maybe an AFC title game for him to really get the notoriety.
They
Because
have to beat
also,
the Chiefs.
yes, yeah, because it's not going to help him that he's in the same division as Patrick Mahomes. Like that's just what it is. But I think talent wise, Herbert could be a top 5 quarterback. He's not there right now. I agree with you. Trayton said Dan Hurley drives me nuts. He's on the court as much as his players. Dan Hurley loves wandering on that sideline. Okay. Jory's jacked up tears. Here we go. We're back with this. So this is the previous one that you had. just to give everybody
Mm-hmm.
the sense of where we're starting with here. So you guys got a good picture. Um, hold on, John says, I mean, people have Purdy over Herbert because of the playoffs. He plays smart and safe. Herbert has one interception, just have to win more. Yes, Herbert needs to win more. Absolutely. So, yeah, getting everybody that mental picture. Because now this is the updated one that's about to pop up here. And you'll notice some changes. Trey said I'd take 10 months to throw a chair at him. Okay.
Morgan Wallen is hateable. Look,
I think we're about 2 weeks away from seeing the news of Trajan throwing chairs at people. I feel like you're getting real involved with the Trajan. You're getting real involved. John has Houston dropped, Falcons dropped, Panthers went up. So that's what
they
John.
deserve it.
I think for Trajan would notice Green Bay moved up on your updated tier list.
Mm-hmm.
John
They don't like
agrees
they
with your
always do.
John agrees with your updated tiers.
Didn't nobody notice the bird switch yet?
They did not. No. Yes, you have switched the Eagles and the Ravens.
I have to. Look, y'all know If Kyle is the resident Raven hater, I'm Raven hater B
Yes.
or point two.
Yes. John said he did notice that. Yes. Because of the Panthers.
Yes.
Anthony says the Rams are too low.
Now thinking about it, now had I had they shown this list was final prior to Thursday, so it within the next like in the final edition of Jacked Up Tears, they'll probably be higher.
Okay.
But I had been waiting all season for the opportunity to make the Ravens drop. I'm like, cause y'all overrated. The coaching that got too cute. Lamar that got too cute. The offensive line forgot how to block on one side again. Here we go all over again.
Okay.
Where'd you
Yeah.
put them?
Hmm.
Oh, I know where they are. They should be right where Philly is, really.
Oh, the Rams.
Yeah, they should be where Philly is.
Okay. All right.
And
So okay. So if you were doing one like tomorrow, you would jump the Rams all the way up to strong set.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been one who's kind of doubted the Rams, but I agree. I think you kind of have to give them their props for what they're doing. I still think that there could be a chance that Seattle wins that division, but I do think the Rams are probably playing better than them right now. And trust me, Seattle probably has a week where they're going to drop a game, and the Rams I think are only a game behind them. So there's a chance the Rams have a win in that division, which I think some people thought that before the season. Because you have to say, with them beating the Niners are basically eliminated at this point, which
hmm
I don't know how many people had that going into the season, but they've been so beat up that it was probably inevitable. Anthony says,
no, the Titans was not a homer pick. The Titans had been playing pretty well prior to last week.
might
Just
say
had to explain that.
Rams Lions NFC Championship. Okay. I mean, that game in Detroit last year in the playoffs was wild. That would be a great environment. Packers can get Jair back. They're good enough in the back end. Need consistent pass rush. I don't want to see Rams Packers in the playoffs. They scare me more than the Lions or Eagles. Okay, so the chat's feeling the Rams right now. All right, so you got no pushback for your club with the Lions, Bills, Packers, and Steelers. So it seems like everybody agrees with them being the top four. Got no pushback really with their strong set, other than you said you put the Rams up there, but the Eagles, Commanders, the Chargers, the Bucks, Vikings, and the Chiefs on that level. Okay,
They about to move down too. I am
you,
not impressed with the Chiefs. They are the most mediocre 11-1 team ever.
Problem is they keep winning because teams get to that point where they can beat them, and then it's one little mistake
It's
that
one
allows.
little fluky mistake,
So
and I'm not gonna.
somebody's got to step up and beat them in that situation.
I'm gonna hold that against the Chiefs. Down they go.
John says he would switch the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos are playing better. I hate to admit that.
How far are the Rams from the wild card? I can tell you that right now. I want to say wild card. They might be. Oh, they might have played themselves into like a game back. Hold on. So standings. I mean, I could have pulled it up on the screen, but the Rams are a half game behind the Commanders. The Rams are 8-6. The Commanders are 8-5.
Yeah, so the Rams do need to be up there.
I mean, look, I'm rooting for the Commanders again because I like Jane Daniels. I think it would be great for that organization, but the Rams are not going to make it easy on them.
They're
And
not.
the Rams are a half game behind the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 8-5 as well. So the Rams have two paths in: leap the Commanders or leap the Seahawks in the division. And the Seahawks do have a challenging end to their season. Packers' weak spot is a secondary. The Rams, as we saw versus the Bills, can put up points fast in a lot of them. Yes. The Puka Nakua Stafford connection is, yeah, that's definitely going to give a lot of secondary uh, units a lot of problems. I mean, Cooper Cup didn't even have a fantasy point last game, and they still won that game. So you know there's a big game from him probably coming pretty soon.
For
Uh,
him, I say Denver would probably move up next go round. The Bears are probably going to end up moving down.
okay.
And everything
And we
might
know
stay the same. It
we know you're
depends.
still we know you're still not high on Houston.
I'm not, and I won't be. And
Yeah.
the fact that they're losing their line, one of their best linebackers for 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
is not going to help them.
Washington has a hard 4 games as well. Yes. Here we go. Is OBJ done since he's no longer with
Yes,
Miami? Only 32 though.
he was done in Baltimore. They brought him in there just to teach people and the dance and the choreographed touchdown celebration. He does absolutely nothing, but still a check.
He might look back at that decision and wonder why he went to Baltimore. Never liked the fit from day one, and he just never fit at all.
Hey, stop that.
If I'm OBJ, if the Rams wanted me, I might. I would go there.
He better not ride the Rams to another Super Bowl like he did the first time. Nope.
But I'm just saying, at least with the Rams, he may show a pulse. Like he got to Miami, everybody was like, "Oh my God, think about it! You got Tyreek Hill, you got Waddle, you got OBJ." Most people forgot like 3 weeks into the season that OBJ was actually in Miami. Most people forgot until this past week when he was released from Miami that he was still in the league. I think most people thought OBJ like retired over the offseason.
Me too. I
So
forgot he existed.
yeah. So if you are OBJ and you're out there and you're like, I want to play out the rest of the season. I mean, I don't even know what his health looks like, but if you could work your way to Buffalo, sure. Because Buffalo, I mean, sure. I mean, Green Bay, I would say no, because Green Bay has enough wide receivers as is. Pittsburgh, hmm?
Why would the Ravens sign him? So Lamar can miss him when he's wide open down the numbers? So Lamar can overthrow him?
Right. If you're Deontay Johnson, you'll probably tell OBJ, don't come here. You'll end up just like me. Man, I'm trying to think what other teams could OBJ go to. I mean, obviously, people say Kansas City. Sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if OBJ signs somewhere, but I do think he's kind of done. Like he's 32, he's had his moments. Yeah, wrap it up. DeAndre Johnson suspended, but a team I see he'll go to is the Steelers. Chiefs maybe to wait until Hollywood Brown gets back.
And he's coming back. He's on his way back.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I didn't think they would trade for one at the deadline. I figured, I don't know, maybe secondary, but they got Johnson anyways. I think Jordan and I
Yeah.
did this show right before the deadline. And we were like, if the Ravens are smart, get secondary help. And then they got
And then they
Deontay.
traded for a receiver. I'm like, you dumb dumbs. And did
They,
nothing else.
they could use secondary. They could use linebacker. I know a lot of people love Roquan Smith, but that linebacker position is a hole right now in that
Needs
defense.
help.
Yes. Pass rush. They don't get it. So they could have picked any one of those three levels on defense to get at the trade deadline, which would have been more of an impact than Deontay Johnson. They chose not to. So this is what they're living with. They're going to be a wild card team. They're going to have to travel on the road to probably like Pittsburgh to win a wild card game. And all I'll say is good luck with that. If you think you're going into Pittsburgh in January and beating Mike Tomlin, more
You
power
got
to you.
another team coming. And
Crosby's
they
done.
already beat you once.
Raiders are smoked. Raiders have been smoked, but I see what you're saying. Hate watch college games when the camera's on the same side of the court as the benches. Just looks messed up. Okay. All right. So it looks like overwhelmingly your tiers get a thumbs up from everybody. Marshawn Lattimore is playing tomorrow. Okay. That's right. He hasn't suited up for them yet. I want to see what he does in the secondary. All right, so there are picks. Well, this is from 2 weeks ago. These are the last picks that we had. So we both went 3-1 that week. Jory still does have a lead over me, but got a few more games to try to close the gap. Oh, this
Don't
one
get
got
me started on Devondre's stupid ass. Look,
movie friends. Who picks him up? If I'm a team, nobody. I don't need guys
he
that quit because the guy who had the job before you comes back from injury. You move to the reserve role you were supposed to have, and now you don't want to enter the game. I'm good on that. He can go play in Canada for all I care.
you. There's guys on that team that's fighting through infant deaths and damn injuries. The only injury you got is a bruised ego. Get the hell up out of here. Come on.
John said probably Dallas.
They
I,
need him. I mean, if they do it, but I wouldn't want that in my locker room, knowing that you just quit.
yeah, he made us believe in Green Bay that Joe Barry lost the locker room. Yeah, Campbell. Yeah, that's the way you want to end your career. Cool. All right, so Jory with her 5-game lead. These are the games we have to choose from. So if you're watching, the underlying teams are the favorite in the matchup. So to run through these, you got the Chiefs as a road favorite heading to Cleveland to face the Browns. You have the Bengals as a road favorite heading to Nashville to face Jory's Titans. The Commanders, Anthony's Commanders, are a road favorite heading down to New Orleans to face the Saints, where it looks like Carr won't start and it looks like Jake Hayner will be the quarterback for the Saints. You have the road favorite Ravens traveling up to New York to face the Giants. First time in 3 years, I think? The Panthers are a favorite against somebody, and it's the Cowboys, which, if you didn't think the Cowboys were down bad, they're being picked as an underdog against the Panthers. Like, that's as low as it gets for the Cowboys, but shout out to the Panthers. Train says for me to take all underdogs. Well, it's okay. Okay, well, we don't want to jump ahead of don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, whatever the saying is. I don't know. The Jets are the favorite heading to Jacksonville to face the Jags in a matchup of who's going to screw that game up first. We'll see. The Texans are home favorites against the Dolphins. I guess that momentum about the Dolphins potentially making a run has died really quickly because nobody's talking about the Dolphins anymore. This is a matchup that the Colts are, well, the Broncos are a home favorite against the Colts. This is basically an elimination game for the Colts if they lose, as the Broncos are a team that they're trying to chase. So Broncos can get a win there. They'll probably solidify themselves as a playoff team. You have, oh, you're muted. Yeah,
I'm muted because I'm being harassed by a chihuahua that's growling. Um,
understood. Understood.
if the Colts lose, ow, if the Colts lose versus the
Mm-hmm.
Broncos, that would mean the Texans will clinch the division because everybody else will be eliminated.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I think the Texans with a win, Colts with a loss. Texans clinch the South. Yes. So
Girl,
Colts, Colts are hanging on to their playoff lives by a thread. Um, where was I? Oh, yeah, the Lions and maybe game of the week are home favorites against a Bills team that's coming in, hoping to get knock down another big name team in the league. Battle of Pennsylvania. You have the Eagles as a home favorite over the Steelers. As mentioned before, the Cardinals are home favorite against the Patriots. We'll see how that game goes. The Chargers home favorite over Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, now leading NFC South Bucks. You have Trajan. Your Packers are a road favorite heading up to Seattle to face the 12th man and the Seahawks. Got the Vikings as a home favorite against the Bears, and the Falcons are a home favorite against the Raiders. We have two Monday night games. So you got Bears, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders. I know it's a tough decision on which game to watch, but you got options on Monday night. Um, so Trajan told me to take all underdogs. John says Cards cover against the Pats, upset Seahawks over the Packers, Jets over the Jags, Miami over the Texans. Which Trajan said it's enough with that upset talk. Anthony said Mike put $1 on Panthers money line against Dallas. Okay. Uh, then John went back at Trajan. You know you're iffy when it comes for your team against the Seahawks. And Anthony says Pittsburgh might upset the Eagles. Okay, so now with our picks, we pick three teams that are favorites that we really like, and then we take an upset. So Jory does have the lead. So we're gonna let Jory go first here. We'll see if she can put together another 3 in 1 week, maybe even a perfect 4-0. So where are you going with your
uh,
picks, Jory?
I'm staying away from Ravens Giants. I got a
Okay.
funny feeling about that game. I'm gonna pick Commanders over the Saints.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick. Let's see. Ma'am, I'm trying to pick my games. You want to pick? Like, would you like to pick? Hold on. You pick one. Like, um, give me. I'm staying away from Jets and Jags. Forget it. Give me the Panthers over the Cowboys.
Okay.
Give it to me because Bryce deserves a win. He's been
Okay.
playing very well.
Yeah.
Give me.
So you need one more favorite.
Hmm, I want to pick the Lions over the Bills, but that's going to be hard because I know the Lions are injured.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of the Chiefs and I'm tired of picking them. I'm staying away from Falcons Raiders.
I, yeah,
I'm
I
staying
again.
away from Patriots Cardinals.
Hmm. Those games, like historically, Patriots Cardinals games end up really weird.
Hmm. I feel like the Steelers Eagles game is going to be an upset, but I'm not picking them to be an upset. Then give me Bills Lions. Give me Lions over Bills.
Okay, all right.
And my delusional upset pick, Titans over Bengals. Only because I feel like Brian Callahan got something to prove.
Okay.
And Cheeto Owuzie, who just got back off of IR and has been playing very well.
Hmm.
He came from the Bengals. Tyler Boyd came from the Bengals. This would be the stereotypical game that my team comes out and beat the crap out of the Bengals. Because we've had our rounds with the Bengals over the past few years.
Okay.
Look, don't get me started about 2021.
Hmm.
Damn AFC Championship game have 9 freaking sacks. 9!
Yeah.
And then 3 bad picks to offset it.
Change trades. I'm telling you, man, the chair throwing, you're a little
Do
too
we need to
involved.
put you on a chair watch list?
John's taking the Browns over the KC. Time for them to get an L. That look, that would be a game that Jameis Winston randomly just goes nuts. I could see it. I wouldn't pick it, but I like the mentality. Anthony said Ravens, Denver, Falcons upset. Falcons then upset Pittsburgh over the Eagles, and then went to Taco Bell where Trader said they got rid of Diet Dew, so he almost threw a chair through the window. Which you got chairs to throw in your car, going through the drive-through window. Might have a conversation about that.
I'll
Um,
put him on a watch list.
I mean, yeah. All right, so just to remind you all, the picks will go up on Integrity Sports after the show or tomorrow. We'll see, and a couple other places which we'll talk about later on. FBI top 10 most wanted for throwing chairs. Morgan and I will be the only ones. Oh man. If the Bills beat the Lions, he's a clear winner for. That would be a
Next.
statement for Josh Allen. Yeah.
And I don't want to hear nothing else about a Lamar Jackson MVP.
Hmm. All right. So my picks. I'm gonna take the Broncos over the Colts. I like what Bo Nix is doing. I think they're playing really well. I think defensively they're gonna give Richardson a lot of problems. I'll take the Broncos over the Colts.
I
Um,
forgot that game existed.
it's the Colts. It's hard to forget about them. But yeah, Bo Nix is trying to make a case for Rookie of the Year. I mean, if he gets him into the playoffs, like he'll have a big case for sure. I will also take, even though I know I normally wouldn't pick against this guy, I'm gonna take the Chargers over the Bucks. I think the Chargers are just well coached. I think that they, you know, will be tough for the Bucks. Like I said, I don't necessarily like picking against Baker and the Bucks because they find ways to win games that they probably shouldn't. But I will find it hard for them to travel cross country, beat the Chargers out in LA. Even though they'll probably have more fans in LA than the Chargers do, but I'll take the Chargers to take that one and probably punch their ticket into the playoffs most likely. So Chargers over the Bucks. All right, for my third one, I kind of want to go with. I'll say that for an upset pick. like you said, the Patriots in me could never pick the Jets, so I'm not going to do that. Although that would be a funny way for Mac Jones to beat Aaron Rodgers. Then you could add Mac Jones to the list of quarterbacks that beat Aaron Rodgers this year, which is what puts me to sleep at night. Third. You know what? I mean, Trajan, you have to let me know this one. Toyota-thon is still going on, right? Because I
Yes.
want to take the Packers over the Seahawks, so I'll take the Packers over the Seahawks. That's for Toyota-thon.
Can you not crunch on that near my microphone?
So then, for my upset, I go a couple ways with this. I could go Homer, take the Patriots over the Cardinals. I could do that. But I think I'm gonna take a step away from the Homer pick this week. I saw it in the chat a couple times. I thought this as soon as the week schedule came out, and attaboy, no cheer for you. I appreciate that, Tracy. I appreciate that. I'm buying in to the Steelers over the Eagles because this Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown thing, I think is a big enough deal that Tomlin and the Steelers will be able to go into that game. Not a long travel, obviously, but I think that's a game that the Steelers can go in, get a win, and create more questions about the Eagles, and I think bring more attention to just how good of a season the Steelers are actually having. Because I think with a lot that's going on, the Ravens still get a lot of attention. The Chiefs get a lot of attention. I think the Chargers are getting attention. The Steelers are just kind of there. So I'm going to take the Steelers over the Eagles and hope for a 4-0 week so I can gain some ground on Jory here. Even though some of your picks are ones I would have gone with as well. So uh, we carry bag chairs in our cars in Wisconsin. Okay. Look,
Back chairs? Are you talking about lawn chairs?
I guess it'd be kind of what we call lawn chairs. Yes. Do we think the Texans will beat Miami? That
I
game
don't
could go
know.
so many. I couldn't confidently pick that one,
That's why I
but
stayed away from that.
yeah, I would take the Texans. I think the Texans are a better team. But I've said that a lot of weeks, and then they get out there and play, and you wonder about them. So I would take the Texans. I know you asked about the Monday night games as well, John. For Monday night, I would take the Vikings, and I would take the Falcons. The Falcons one makes me worried because that's the type of game that they go into, let the Raiders hang around, and then the Raiders beat them late. But I'll take the two favorites on Monday night, Vikings and the Falcons. So Damien, do we see Russ and Fields getting a contract in Pittsburgh? No. They'll go with one. And
They'll go
based
with
on
one.
everything, wouldn't you have to think Russ has found his new home? So I do think Fields will be out there and available.
I'll
I
take
think they
him.
would love to sign both, but how long you want Fields sitting around? How
I'll
long was
take him.
sit around? So I mean, yeah. Look, if you're Tennessee and like you said, you're done with Will, Fields is still young enough that if you brought him in, that's basically like a draft pick. Why not? That's interesting. Okay. So we'll have to look out for that in the offseason. If Justin Fields does not get signed, will Tennessee get involved? Anthony says, we don't think the Browns defense will stop Patrick. I think it will make it tough, yes, because the Chiefs offense hasn't necessarily been great, but the question is going to be, close game late. Will Jameis Winston do enough to get them the win, or will there be a late turnover that allows the Chiefs to escape? I do think that's going to be a close game because of that defense, but I can't put that trust into Jameis Winston.
Yeah, because that's the end of game is the perfect time for him to get his LASIK to get all blurry and he start messing up his colors. So that's the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Will you stop? I'm almost finished.
So Trey said, lawn chair, bag chairs, bubblers, water fountains, pop soda, all the same. There we go.
I did not know people called water fountains bubblers.
Very rarely do you hear it. Yes, well, yeah, that is a thing. Um, I think this is a question that every Falcons fan is asking. If Kirk throws three more interceptions and they lose, do you sit him and put Penix Jr. in? Yes, absolutely. Because at that point, you're probably going to lose the division to the Bucks. You might as well throw Penix out there. It's yes, it is a northern thing. I am from Boston. I've heard bubblers up there. Yes. If the Vikings win, Caleb gets traded. Hey, Damien, I know you Bears fans. Yes. Okay. All right, Chad. You guys are love the energy. Southern's just different.
Yeah.
That is, yes, that is true. Somebody who's experienced both, it definitely is. All right. So now we have our last call. Jory wanted this time to go off on a trend in the sports world that both she and I have noticed and aren't necessarily big fans of. So, Jory, go ahead.
These podcasting ass athletes. And I'm not talking about the ones who are former players who are giving thoughtful analysis, who are being respectful, who are media trained. I'm talking about the active ones who act like they don't know what being media trained and properly media trained means. You're going off the rails saying foolish, dumb crap just to say whatever, and then you're consistently having to backtrack because of backlash. This is becoming an epidemic of stupidity. Not, and I'm not talking about the St. Brown's podcast because they're wholesome. They don't usually go too much in depth about the game. They do have discussion, but it's not on the level of Michael Dan Parsons. It's the people who are trying to dabble in the two things at one time, and they don't know how to balance exactly both of them. It's like they forget the rules of common freaking sense when it comes to sportsmanship, teammates, locker room camaraderie. They just forget all the rules. And the rules are don't call out your teammates, either directly or indirectly. Keep that crap in the locker room. Don't speak on locker room business to public people. Don't throw your coach under the bus unless it's absolutely necessary. If you're injured, shut the hell up. If you're not playing well, shut the hell up. Be respectful. And remember, what you say, I am talking specifically about Aaron Rodgers and Michael Dan Parsons. What you do and say on a podcast or via the media is somehow going to affect the locker room. Pick your words wisely. That smug POS, SOB, however you want to put it, Aaron Rodgers, want to sit here and gaslight the media. Oh my God. Like, the media did it. Fool, you're part of the media. And former athletes talking this and da 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 da. Like, fool, the same people that you're talking about is the same people who give you a platform to spew your asinine BS that lets you blame everybody else. Um, like it, the ones that get on my nerve is like the ones who talk too much.
Mm-hmm.
Micah Parsons talks too much. Marlon Humphrey talks entirely too damn much. Aaron Rodgers. Hold on. Bella, get from under my bed. Like, Poodle. Um, Aaron Rodgers. You say backward stuff all the time. You call out your teammates all the time. Gilbert Arenas gets on my nerve. He's a former player, but he be saying a lot of BS too.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond, annoying. It's stupid. It's leading to the gaslighting of the public. And some of these athletes, they really think that they're smarter than the general public. And they say these tone deaf, stupid things that make absolutely next to no sense whatsoever. Or then they say the wrong things and then catch the heat and blame the media. Michael Parsons do that dumb crap all the time. Well, the media did this. The media do that. Well, no, it's not the media's fault that you don't know how to properly provide context, that you don't know how to word things in a manner that won't make people think twice, that you don't know how to avoid things that could be divisive. That's why when the athlete is already in an unfavorable situation, the last thing you need to do is say the wrong thing. There's a reason why we say that people say that. To make something small bigger than what it is. You don't know, you act like you don't know what's appropriate to address with the media and with the public and what's inappropriate to discuss with the public. You're in a brotherhood. Everybody does not need to know your business. And y'all act like when you sit here and blame the media and blame people for pushing narratives, you act like the media won't pull receipts and blast your ass for a week. And then you play stupid. Like, why do they keep talking about this? You gave them a reason to give them a vendetta, you dummy. I'm tired of this crap. It's annoying. Devontae Adams looks stupid, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he got out of one, I guess, bad situation just to enter one that's probably even worse. So, Anthony, this was your last question. Do we think it's drama with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's not a good look, especially when you are a 2 seed in the NFC, potentially fighting for the 1 seed, and we're having to hear that your wide receiver and quarterback aren't seeing eye to eye, and it's a
For
wide
the
receiver
second
that's
year in a row.
right, and it's a wide receiver that's had a little bit of history with stuff like this, and with everything with Sirianni and all that, like it's not something that I wanted to hear. So yes, it's absolutely drama. I would put in Tyrod Taylor. Heck, they can't get any worse. I mean, look at the Jets. Had stones. They'd sit Aaron Rodgers. They basically said we don't want him back. So why have him play out the last 4 games of the season? For what?
I do it just to get him killed.
Eh,
See, but I'm a little wicked. I'd send his butt right on back out there behind that porous offensive line. This is what you get. Play, and you won't be back next year.
that's fair. Yeah. I mean, yes. Him in a situation that he helped create. Yes, he should be forced to play. But if you're not going to win games with him, sulk whether he plays or he doesn't. So at least you put Tyrod Taylor out there. Maybe he shows something. Obviously, he's not your future, obviously, but
Can
maybe
you
he
imagine
smooths
the
with some of
clown
those guys that
show?
are on that team that can't stand Aaron Rodgers right now.
Right. Can you imagine the clown show? The circus that would be coming out of New York if Aaron Rodgers got benched? I'd have my
But
popcorn ready.
if I'm the Jets, I would look at it as, look, we are taking our team back. We tried this Aaron Rodgers experience for 2 years. Last year was a complete waste because he got hurt. This year, you could basically call it a waste. Like if we wanted a season like this, I'm saying we. I'm not a Jets fan, but as Jets would be like, if we wanted a season like this, we could have kept Zach Wilson and had a season like this.
Mm, they probably would have won more games.
Yeah, we could have went and got old man Joe Flacco again. Probably would have had a better season than this. But Aaron
Hmm.
Rodgers is supposed to be, Hall of Famer, former Super Bowl champion, multi-time MVP. He was supposed to come in, take a team that had a great defense, really good weapons on offense, and make it work. And you could say he's made everybody worse. The run game has taken a step back. The wide receiver group step back. The defense step back. Like you got to just be done with him. Thoughts on UNC hiring Bill Belichick? Already got number one quarterback commitment 2026. Multiple four-star portal players for next year. 10 million a year was way too high. Saban was making 11. Kirby's making 13. I love it. I mean, I think it's gonna be cool seeing Belichick on the sidelines for North Carolina. His dad was an assistant with the Tar Heels, so this could be something where means a lot to him as following kind of the footsteps of his dad. I'm interested to see what kind of staff he takes to North Carolina, but,
He already
but
keeping Freddie Kitchens.
mm-hmm,
And he
yeah,
already got somebody else. He's
mm-hmm,
putting together the staff.
yeah.
I think he's
So
going to do
I
pretty
would
good.
not be surprised if next season you don't see North Carolina late in the season playing meaningful football. Don't I'm not going to say they'll necessarily be like a playoff team right away, but his time down there, he'll have North Carolina in the playoffs. Do we think Rogers
Do
is
I
changing
think?
the plays?
I think
Absolutely.
he I think he's ingesting too much ayahuasca before games, and he's going out there hallucinating.
I mean, Peyton Manning used to do it. They call
See,
running they call running plays down around the goal line. He'd switch it to passing plays. Like, yeah, I absolutely think Aaron Rodgers is doing that. But all right, so the last thing before we do get up out of here, because wanted to show this. So we have a new spot for articles and everything. You go to it's in the description, but you go to WordPress. Well, it's passion and precision sports blog .wordpress.com. I know it's a lot, but it's in the description. We have a couple of new articles up there. I did one on Gerard Mayo. Jory did one on the Titans and the state of affairs, which, hold on. If I switch to this view, you'll see it. There. State of the Tennessee Titans. Like I said, Gerard Mayo, got one by Eric Bieniemy and all that. We will try to upload articles pretty regularly, but you guys go over there. You know, I believe in this, you subscribe to our blog and get some more content from the show when we aren't live on here. So we want to let you all know that we have that up there. Go check it out. Check out our latest articles. Would love to hear from you. There's a comment section under the articles. Let us know what you thought about them. We would greatly appreciate it. So that was the last thing I had before we got out of here. I guess anything you want to add about the blog or anything you got going on before we get out of here?
tune in this week for more videos on Dory Short Stories. I have a Lakers video coming out. And the same article that's on the blog, I have a corresponding video to that coming out this week, finally. And
There you go.
then I'm gonna introduce on Jory Sports Stories like six, like every so often. I do six random teams in the NFL. Yeah, it took me 2 weeks to write it.
Hey, Anthony, appreciate you going over there and checking it out already.
So yeah, I'll have that video coming out. I'll be doing a little series where I just talk about six random NBA teams. Get a little spicy. I wouldn't. I'm gonna dread the day I have to do the Wizards,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's all I got going on. I ain't gonna keep you too much longer.
Yeah. Now, John, I will say the Gerard Mayo article. You can check that out as a Patriots fan. I talk basically directly to those who think Gerard Mayo is some major failure. I talked about that in that article. And for Anthony, it's not as long as Jory's. So, if you want to wait till the morning to start Jory's, like mine's is a quick read. Um,
Yeah, I'll be having a lot to talk about.
no, I
So
mean, I read through it, like it's a lot of good information in there. It's a lot of breakdown. Coming from Jory as a Tennessee Titans fan, like he breaks it down for you. So it is a good read for sure. And like I said, we will definitely try to kind of have the content regularly going up on there. Like I'm trying to promise that I will do at least an article a week. Some weeks you might get multiple ones, depending on how I'm feeling. But I'm gonna try to do at least one a week, and it won't necessarily be all like Patriot stuff. I will talk about some other stuff on there. If you guys have some suggestions for us on stuff you'd want us to maybe do an article about, you can let us know as well.
I do have a playoff one. I have an idea for a playoff article, but not gonna spoil it.
Yes,
Cannot spoil it.
yes. So there you go. That's what we have. So check that out if you want more content from the show. As Jory says, she's got Jory Sports Stories where she'll have some other stuff going up. For me, I do have chomping at the bit. I was kind of in the process of switching computers and stuff, so it's been like a week or so since I did a video. But the new computer set up and everything. I mean, this was the first stream I actually did on the new computer. I thought it went really well. So videos and all that should be back on my channel probably starting Monday. But um, yeah, so thanks to all of you. Appreciate you guys tuning in and spending a couple hours with us. I feel like here's the weird thing. Like when Jory and I first started doing this show, we did not think we'd be doing like 2 hour episodes. Now it's like
Mm-mm.
we kind of just do it kind of regularly, only because you guys in the chat kind of help us, I guess, keep it going. So we definitely thank you all for that. Um, love the energy. Anthony, John, Damien, everybody who might check this out after the fact, greatly appreciate you. We will make sure to continue to be entertaining and keep the rants and the fire and everything going. So make sure you guys come back next week for another edition of Passion and Precision. Give us a like for this one. Follow or subscribe to Integrity Sports Network. That way you'll know when we go live or any of the other shows on the network go live. Greatly appreciate that. So enjoy the rest of your night. Be safe. Make sure you come back next week for another edition, and we will see you all later.